So this is a wild video. As captured by Brooks Radio on TikTok, one fan was caught on video texting his group chat obscene messages. There is no other way to view this than pure bigotry. Let's go frame by frame, shall we, everybody? One person would ask, "Where are you at? Cirque du Soleil?" The man texting would say, or rather type, "They call it a basketball game, but I think it's some sort of illegal Venezuelan Somalian underground drug operation." Sadly, we've seen this before. V-Lone Files on TikTok recorded a middle-aged dude at the U.S. Open writing a text that would read, "Actually, this is funny. All the black people are leaving." But then it would cut out. The blue text above it does say, "Does lesbian porn count?" Regardless, this video is troublesome because of the location, that being Minnesota, and the politics of the text.
Now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that, Scott. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, "Oh, that's not politically correct." I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, "Let's go, come on, let's make this place great." These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain, and from where they came from, they got nothing.
We know what other countries he's talking about here.
The president tonight apparently uncorking another astonishing statement, complaining to lawmakers in the Oval Office about protections for immigrants. Why do we want these people from, quote, all these countries here? According to a Democratic aide familiar with the conversation, Mr. Trump was referring to African nations and Haiti, before suggesting the U.S. should have more people from places like Norway.
Tonight, President Trump ups the rhetoric against Somali immigrants in Minnesota. This comes after prosecutors uncovered fraud that largely benefited parts of the state's community. They say 59 people have been convicted in those schemes and more than $1 billion has been stolen from taxpayers, despite only a small pocket of the tens of thousands of people in the Somali immigrant community there being responsible. President Trump, he's attacking all of them. 59 individuals brought to justice or will be brought to justice over this alleged fraud. But now everybody from Somalia should be kicked out of the country?
Yeah. Look, the categorical denunciations are bad. It is also the case, and this isn't qualifying it in a way that abdicates Trump's responsibility for having said it, although he isn't the most sophisticated communicator. Charismatic, sophisticated, not so much. This is how we talk about race and ethnicity in this country. We do a lot of categorical denunciations. For a very long time, it was all about kind of black lives and whiteness and what whiteness does. No one should be shocked that this is how we're talking about Somalians in this context as well. And I think in general, if we were to move away from that kind of categorical nonsense, it'd be a little bit easier to take on board the condemnations of the president in this context, as opposed to having to just kind of do it when it's convenient for us. So that's the first thing I'd say. But again, I do think that responsibility for this sits with the president. He ought to be a hell of a lot more careful. It is completely inappropriate to condemn an entire community.
Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, "Let's go, come on, let's make this place great." These are people that do nothing but complain.
Congresswoman, how do you respond to that?
Well, thank you, Anna, for having me. I would say the president's obsession with me and the Somali community is really unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. It sounds like he is trying to deflect from the failures that he's had as president. His immigration rates are not going in the way that he's expected. We know that the tariffs are not working to make life affordable for Americans. We know that he is afraid of what is in the Epstein files, as he's fought to be the head of the pedophile protection party. And we know that right now he is being investigated for war crimes that he might have committed when he ordered what seems to be illegal attacks against boats in the Caribbean. He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming, and we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
Are you getting any support from Republican colleagues on this? Are you seeing anyone from the president's own party stand up and say this kind of rhetoric isn't okay?
No.
The NBA fan also texted about Venezuela, another tell.
As I've said, and I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. Hundreds of thousands of Americans poisoned, and President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and it's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats. We're defeating narco terrorists.
We have a president who doesn't understand the Constitution, who installed an unqualified Secretary of Defense. I cannot think of a Secretary of Defense in the history of our country that is less qualified than Pete Hegseth. He should not be in this position. He should have been fired after Signalgate, and now he should be fired again for this, if this is accurate. So he's not going to get me to back down. But what he is doing is sending a very chilling message across our entire nation, not only in the military, but the civilian workforce. Who's going to speak up and say anything if they see something that's unlawful or see something waste, fraud, and abuse? Why would anyone speak out if they can go and try to prosecute a U.S. senator?
We heard from President Trump in the Oval Office today, again saying that there would be strikes on land in Venezuela, quote, soon. He says he's spoken with Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, briefly, and that he said, we'll see what happens. But again, he's keeping up with that warning of potential land strikes happening very soon, he says. He also said that this isn't a pressure campaign on Maduro. He says it's, quote, much more than that. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Very soon we're going to start doing it on land, too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also.
And this comes as the U.S. Marines and Panamanian military continued with their joint training exercises in Panama this week. That is something that a U.S. official tells me is a signal to Venezuela that the president is watching this area very closely and isn't really taking his foot off the gas.
As the Times wrote, Mr. Trump has seized on immigration as a potent political weapon, demonizing immigrants and equating them with crime and disease. He often returns most furiously to the topic when he is on the defensive, as he is now, over issues like the economy and the Epstein files. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.